Well, it's been a really, really long wait to get a hold of this thing. I ordered my AeroPress in my AeroPress Premium glass and metal in October. And I'm actually a little frustrated the company did a bad job keeping people informed as to when we were actually going to get our product. And then they sent me an ad that they had them in stock at Williams and Sonoma, and I was pretty upset because I was like, guys, really? Like, we prepay you and then you ship it to Williams Sonoma? But it's finally here. Kind of a weird, cool box. And let's just see here what we got. All right, so got our instruction manual in 13 languages. All right, and we've got, this is the, well, it's kind of big, huh? It's seems much bigger than the original AeroPress. Interesting. All right, so let's see here. So we've got, everything's just metal, kind of cool. All right, we got our new stir. It's longer and it's metal, and our scoopy here is metal. Ding ding, metal. All right. And, we've got cardboard in here. Oh, it's fun to do this with one hand. I should have used my little phone stand. Okay. And here's the little filter. Also metal. Heavy. Nice. We've got some more little filter discs, but I'm going to use my unbleached ones. Right, and let's see. Slide this thing apart. Struggling a little bit here. Let's see. Boop. Okay, yeah, so it's nice, thick, like borosilicate glass. Metal base. And the pusher here. It's metal. Interesting, so the diameter, I was about to make my other coffee, and my wife reminded me this showed up yesterday. So the other AeroPress is, I guess the volume must be the same. It's taller and thinner. So it's probably the same volume, I'm guessing. The wall is much thicker, the glass wall here, which I'm sure is prevent it from cracking when you pour boiling water into it. All right, so this is their little box. Set that aside. I wasn't planning on doing this morning. All right. Just a little rinse. Little rinse. All right. We'll get my little stand. All right, so I make mine like this. I like to steep the coffee long. So I make it upside down. My brother is much deeper into coffee than me and suggested this technique. And so you can see them side by side here. So we've got, I think it's exactly the same volume, but the original is thinner walled and more squat with a wider diameter. All right, so we're gonna do phase one here. I'm gonna pour my hot water over my grounds. Let's see how this goes. I am surprised they gave you metal implements. That is a nice touch, considering the whole reason I did this was to avoid having more plastic in my life. Give it a little stir, a rinse here. All right. They were smart and made the top of the pusher pretty fat, so even though it's taller, it's still stable. I usually hold this with two hands to stir here as I put a lot of grounds in my AeroPress here. So obviously this is not the videos I ordinarily make, since most of my life is wolves and outdoors and crazy wolves outdoors, but gotta fuel up for crazy wolves outdoors. So I do my coffee routine every morning before I go get mauled. Got mauled last night. I went out to see Mooney, and she was so happy to see me, she jumped up and fish hooked my mouth with her claws and managed to get me right in the gum line with a claw. She's done that in the exact same spot about a month ago. It's her new trick, is to fish hook me. She's light and bouncy. When she greets me, she's so excited. She leaps for my face. I try to get down low to avoid it, but she's too quick. That's the problem of being a hominid with a bunch of quadrupeds, is that they want to greet you in the face, then they're going to bounce into your face. All right, so we're going to let that percolate for a minute here, and then I'll do the plunging part of it. All right, so I've poured my grounds. I think we're centered up here pretty good. Here's the filter cap with an unbleached filter. And I usually top off my press right to the very tippy top right before I press. I know this is a little different than their instructions, but trial and error has given me a different perspective on it. All right. That seat's pretty firm. And then what I do is I usually flip this over the sink and give it a little shake first, like that, just to move the grounds around. Now, let's see here. So it's a little different with the volume being redistributed. It feels like it needs more pressure to move the grounds through. Be a little careful here. It's definitely a lot taller, which means somewhat less stable. Definitely more work to press it through. It's also a different leverage because it's so much taller to get weight on it. I tend to grind my coffee a little bit finer than they recommend, so I have a little bit stronger brew. But that strategy may be something I need to change a little bit for this. This is pretty hard to push, relatively speaking. It's going. It's a lot more distance. I noticed the glass walls are thick enough that even though I pour pretty warm water, just off the boil, it's not. It's warm, but it's about like if you were to heat a pint glass in a microwave with coffee or something in it. I'll pour a cappuccino or a latte into a tall glass. It's about that temperature on the glass, not crazy. And I'm definitely having to put my weight into this thing to press it. And as I said, that's, I think, a combination of the way this is distributed, because since it's taller and narrower, we're pushing through a more compacted volume of grounds in between the grind that I choose and the amount of grounds I put in here. It's just a bit more work. And then the height of the and I am struggling a bit to get it down through here. It'll go. I'm just gonna have to park my weight on top of it for a second. Everything has a learning curve. I'm not sure if the camera mic is picking up on it. It's tripping through. It's just slow. Little by little. My main reason for getting this was just because I feel like it's not great to put hot acid into plastic and drink it, and I've been doing that for a long time, and I try hard to avoid doing that in my life. I don't microwave in plastic or things of that nature, but I really like the quality of the coffee I get and the convenience of the AeroPress. My brother turned me on to it years ago, but I was waiting for them to do something like this, and as soon as they made an announcement, the same day they announced it, I pre-ordered. There'd been speculation for a long time they were going to do this, but I think there were some engineering challenges and probably a lot of trial and error. It's a simple thing, but doing a simple thing well when you change materials probably required a lot of testing and development. And there it is. All right, so finally, and you can see how much of mine is grounds. It's almost one full indicator. I think that's an ounce on their indicia. All right, but that's it. I have a dab that's heavy. So there's the byproduct. Pop that out. Right. That's the process. And I try to not waste even my little paper filters because they don't need to be discarded after a single press. So I rinse that out and see. All right, so that is the first AeroPress Premium Metal and Glass process. And again, one last quick comparison here. This is dirty because I had originally put my grounds in there, and then my wife was like, "Why aren't you using the new one?" So there you go. That is the comparison: size, diameter, and process. AeroPress Premium Metal and Glass unboxing, impromptu. Right, so one last thing. I put a little collagen and some heavy cream in my coffee. We'll mix it and I'll give you a verdict. Hold tight. Okay, so I've mixed in my little bit of collagen. I use a product called Salt Wrap Collagen that supposedly helps regrow cartilage. I have to say I have a lot of knee injuries, and this is that stuff for anyone curious. About a year I've been using that as my primary collagen. My knees are more stable. They don't feel great, but they're stable. They don't sublux or anything in spite of a lot of injuries, so that's progress. All right, and so in the coffee here, organic heavy cream, my little collagen. I top the rest of it off with hot water, and let's see. Well, I do have a pretty good palate compared to some people, I suppose. Does this taste different? Quite honestly, I think there is a very, if I think about it, there's a very slight. I'm a little surprised. I didn't expect I would taste any difference whatsoever. And certainly it could be imagination, but I make the same exact coffee the same way every day. I'm a creature of habit. So everything is the same except the press. And what I'm getting is a seems like maybe slightly more complex. I mean, this press has been used 1,000 times. Plastic is plastic, and plastic imparts things for sure, which doesn't bode well for having used it so many times. But coffee tastes good. It just seems a little more complex, actually. Like I'm tasting more of the coffee, maybe. I don't know. That's up for debate for sure. Like, is a person's sense of taste so refined that, especially drinking coffee that has a few things in it, there's no sweetener. It's just the collagen and the heavy cream. And this is the heavy cream I'm using. I don't know. It's good. I'm happy. It worked. I waited. Less plastic. Nice device. Company should have communicated better that it was going to take them months and months and months to get me the product, but now that it's here, I'm happy. So there is your final verdict on the AeroPress Premium Metal and Glass. Hope this was informative.